What if Anakin was made Grandmaster of the Jedi Order? Folks, that's what we're going to go over today. I know it's pretty far-fetched and, probably would never happen, but that's the fun of a fan fiction, so we're going to explore that path. But before we begin, I have really big news. I've partnered with Onasaber.com to host a giveaway for not one, but 2 sabers. I was extremely excited when Onasaber reached out, and we're working together for this giveaway. It's a giveaway that will run through this week, and the winners will be announced here on my channel next Monday, so 1 week from the date this was published. Here are the details of how to enter. Step 1. Hit the subscribe button on this channel. It's a giveaway that you have to be subscribed for, so only subscribers of the channel are eligible to win. Step 2. Click the link in the pinned comment down below to access the Google form for the giveaway. Fill that out and you're all set. Huge shout out to Onasaber for working on this with me. They also have an amazing Black Friday special going on this month. Buy any replica saber and get a free Padawan saber. Simply add both to your cart and get the Padawan saber automatically free at checkout. The link to the website also in the pinned comment. Check it out, you won't regret it. Once again, both winners announced in 1 week. Check the pinned comment. Alright, let's get into today's video. Darth Sidious was feeling into the Force, feeling for Anakin Skywalker, his future apprentice, and he feared that Anakin might not turn. He still had some trust in the Jedi, and most notably, Grandmaster Yoda, and so Sidious decided to slightly alter his upcoming plans. In just a few hours, Coruscant was going to be invaded by Dooku, Grievous, and the Separatist army, and Palpatine would be captured. This would cause more panic about the war, and distrust in the Republic overall, especially the Jedi Order. But Palpatine needed just a bit more to go his way. He needed to tip the scales of Anakin versus the Jedi even more. And perhaps the best way to do that was to kill Grandmaster Yoda, and in turn, the Jedi Anakin hates the most, Mace Windu, will become the Grandmaster. This will be good. Anakin will absolutely stray from a Jedi Order led by Windu. And so after a few hours, the invasion of Coruscant was set to begin, but before it could, Palpatine called Yoda to his office so they could discuss the next steps of the war. Yoda had no clue that he was walking into a trap of the Sith, and soon enough, Yoda entered. As he sat down across Palpatine, the invasion began. Yoda quickly got up and looked out the window, then used his comlink to call Windu and tell him that he has to get Palpatine to safety. Windu was to get the rest of the Jedi on Coruscant organized to fight back. And so Yoda ended the call, then told Palpatine that they had to get him to safety. The Chancellor agreed, but as they began to leave, a loud, metallic clanging sound was heard above the window. Yoda turned at the final second as General Grievous broke through the window with 5 Magna Guards and a whole squad of battle droids. Yoda looked to the door to the office, wondering where the clone trooper reinforcements were, but there was no time to worry. He jumped with lightning speed, a green blur through the air, from droid to droid, expertly using his lightsaber combined with the Force to clear out the battle droids, jumping to each Magna Guard, causing them to quickly fall. Yoda landed in a battle stance and charged at General Grievous. The droid general began to laugh as he deflected Yoda's first few strikes. Yoda eventually saw an opening, but before he could stab Grievous, he was engulfed by lightning, slamming against the wall. The Grandmaster slowly got up and turned to see not only Grievous, but Dooku was here as well. Dooku entered through the main door and clearly he stopped the clone reinforcements from getting here. Yoda got back up, igniting his saber once more, and prepared to fight both Dooku and Grievous as he saw 10 commando droids now line up behind his opponents. This was not good, but it was his duty to protect the Chancellor. So Yoda ran back into battle, sliding under Grievous and jumping up to cut off 2 of his arms. Then he dodged strikes of lightning from Dooku, and instead they blasted into the commando droids. Yoda cut down half of the droids and engaged Dooku in a lightsaber battle. It was ferocious, and the Chancellor's office was being ripped apart as Yoda fought back against him. Once again, he looked to the door as now 5 droidicas rolled in, followed by 10 more commando droids. Yoda was fighting against Dooku and Grievous, while dodging and blocking blaster fire. He was being pushed to the broken window, and Yoda felt a blaster bolt finally get to him, piercing through his chest. Yoda gasped, but before Dooku could cut him down for good, he jumped backwards out of the window, trying to give himself any chance to escape. and Yoda fell forever, barely staying conscious, slamming into speeders, into walls, sliding all the way down to the ground, until he slammed into the ground, using the Force just enough to not die on impact. Meanwhile, Mace Windu was on top of a Republic transport, fighting off droids trying to get to a group of senators. The Jedi Master could see the Chancellor's office, and horror struck him as he saw Dooku and Grievous loading the Chancellor onto a ship, taking him prisoner. This meant Yoda was either injured or... No, Yoda couldn't die. But Windu looked to the ground and saw a small green figure lying down below. Windu called Kit Fisto, having him take over protecting these senators as he jumped down through Coruscant, floating to the ground to find Yoda, still alive, but with a blaster wound through his chest, completely beaten up from the fall. The old Jedi was breathing slowly, and he smiled up at Windu. And Windu knew it was over. Yoda was going to die, and so Windu promised Yoda that he would lead the Jedi to victory in this war. Windu said he will make Yoda proud. But Yoda began to shake his head. Windu didn't understand. He was Master of the Order. It only made sense for him to become Grandmaster as well. But now Yoda spoke in a voice that was raspy and dying. He said, "Replace me? Skywalker will. Trust the Chosen One to lead us. We must." And Yoda fell dead, giving himself to the Force as his body disappeared. For Yoda, he spent his final moments making up his mind on this. In his dying moments, the Force gave him clarity, or perhaps delusion. Either way, Yoda knew the Jedi must take a risk to save the galaxy. And Skywalker was the greatest risk of all, but perhaps the answer. He has become the hero of the Clone Wars, the hero with no fear, as the Republic called him. And for his entire time, since arriving at the temple, Yoda has been trying to teach Skywalker to mature, learn to let go, become a true Jedi. But perhaps the galaxy does not need a true Jedi right now. Perhaps the galaxy needs someone born to lead, born to bring balance to the Force, born to destroy the Sith. Perhaps the galaxy needs the Chosen One. And Windu looked down as Yoda faded away. He simply couldn't believe what he just heard. Skywalker. As the Grandmaster. It made no sense. Surely Yoda was confused in his dying moments. Skywalker? But Windu felt the presence of Yoda around him, and Windu knew that Yoda meant what he said. It was also a discussion for later, as Windu looked up at the invasion. Right now, Coruscant needed saving, and so did the Chancellor. And who better to save the Chancellor than Skywalker himself and Kenobi? So Windu called the two Jedi, ordering them to return to Coruscant to save Palpatine, and then he jumped back into battle. When the dust of the invasion of Coruscant finally settled, Mace Windu stood waiting as he watched one half of the Separatist flagship land on Coruscant. Inside of it were Kenobi, Palpatine, and Skywalker. Windu still hadn't informed the Order of Yoda's death, as it was something that would have to be announced once Palpatine was safe. But he was also still extremely conflicted over Anakin as the next Grand Master. Could he, Mace Windu, Master of the Order, truly let Anakin just take over? He wasn't even a Master yet, much less a Council member. But soon enough, Windu learned that, of course, Anakin killed Dooku and saved Palpatine. Once again, he was the hero of the war. And after some more time, Windu stood in the Jedi Council communications room as he recorded a message into the Jedi beacon. From here, every single Jedi would hear what he has to say. Windu began, saying that Coruscant was invaded, but in the end, the Chancellor was saved, and Dooku was killed by Anakin. As he continued on, hesitating for a moment, before saying that Grandmaster Yoda was killed in the invasion. In this moment, Windu could feel a collective sadness spread throughout the Jedi in the galaxy. Yoda was respected and helped train almost every single Jedi in one way or another. And Windu said there will be a funeral, but the war still goes on. To honor Yoda, the Jedi must not waver. They must come together more than ever before. And Windu almost announced who the next Grandmaster would be, but he could not do it. Not yet. So instead he just said that until a decision is made on Grandmaster, he will take over in the interim. Then he told the Jedi, "May the Force be with you," before ending the call and calling the Jedi Council into session. Anakin Skywalker stood on the balcony of Padme's apartment. The previous night, He had nightmares of her dying in childbirth, and he planned to go visit Yoda this morning to discuss these nightmares. But instead, he'd just learned that Yoda was gone, killed by the Separatists. Sure, him and Yoda did not always see eye to eye. Anakin often felt like he was held back by the Jedi, and Yoda was at the center of it all. But he did have massive respect for Yoda. He was the wisest of them all, and carried such a calm demeanor. And now, he was gone. As Padme hugged Anakin, he heard a beep at his comlink. It was Palpatine. He wanted to meet with Anakin, and so Anakin took off for the Chancellor's office. But as he parked his speeder outside, his comlink beeped again. It was Obi-Wan this time, and he told Anakin that the Council needs to see him, immediately. Anakin sighed. Jedi duties came before a meeting with the Chancellor, even if it was most likely just a mundane war update. And so he took off for the temple instead. And Palpatine sat waiting. He was going to ask Anakin to be his personal representative on the Jedi Council. Now Anakin was nowhere to be found. Inside the council, Mace Windu sat with his hands crossed in front of him. Not long ago, he just informed everyone on the council of what Yoda told him before death, that he requested for Skywalker to be the next Grandmaster. And like Windu, the rest of the council was extremely shocked by this. Normally, it would take a unanimous vote from the council to elect the new Grandmaster, but these were special times. There was a war going on, and the Republic was growing further away from the Jedi. They barely trusted the Jedi any longer, aside from one young man, Anakin. It was no secret the Jedi Order needs Anakin, and Yoda had to have his reasons for this. After all, the Council could most definitely guide Anakin. Perhaps this was their best shot at ending this war. The Republic, the Senate, they trusted Anakin more than any other Jedi, and so they agreed to honor Yoda's final wish. Obi-Wan watched as Anakin entered, a bit later than expected as always, and Anakin stood in the center. He bowed to the council, and quickly he felt a feeling of tension throughout the entire council. Anakin looked around, then asked Windu what was going on. Windu stood up, then he asked Anakin to kneel. Anakin couldn't believe it. He was going to be a Jedi Master. He would have access to the Jedi archives. He could save Padme. Mace ignited his saber, and he promoted Anakin to Jedi Master. Anakin was overwhelmed, and he had trouble finding words, but Windu said that was not all. Anakin's curiosity piqued as he looked to Yoda's empty seat. It was bigger than he remembered, perhaps different, and Windu told Anakin that the seat next to him now belonged to the new Grandmaster of the Jedi Order. Anakin nodded, expecting Windu to take the seat, perhaps Plo Koon, maybe even Obi-Wan, and Anakin almost chuckled at the idea of Obi-Wan as Grandmaster, but no one moved. And Anakin slowly came to the realization that all of the Jedi were staring at him. Anakin was shaking his head, saying it couldn't be him. Not only a master, not only a council member, but Grandmaster? Windu told Anakin that this was Yoda's dying wish, and Anakin simply could not process this. It was too much. He quickly said he could not do this, and he ran out of the council to catch his breath. Anakin ran down the stairs. He needed someone to talk to. It was all too much. He got in his speeder to go talk to Palpatine, but a calm hand reached up and touched his arm before he could take off. It was Obi-Wan, and Anakin's old master smiled to him, then asked Anakin to walk with him. And so Anakin slowly got out of the speeder, took a deep breath, and walked with Obi-Wan. The two of them talked for a long time, walking through the temple together to see the Room of 1,000 Fountains, walking past youngling training rooms, meditation chapels, the main hall temple museum, and even going inside of the Jedi archives, including the restricted section. It was Anakin's first time entering the room, and they continued on until the two of them were alone at what Anakin quickly realized was Yoda's room. The door opened, and the two of them sat down together. Obi-Wan asked Anakin what he felt inside of the temple, and so Anakin closed his eyes and said he felt peace, but behind this peace he felt worry, sadness, fear even, confusion. Obi-Wan said this was good and correct. He said the Jedi Council felt this too, and the Jedi need a leader, and that leader cannot be Windu, himself, or any other council member. The Jedi need something different. Obi-Wan smiled, saying the Jedi need the Chosen One, someone that can restore confidence back in the Order, someone who can end this war and bring peace to the galaxy, someone that the Republic believes in. Anakin walked to the window, looking out at Coruscant. All around, damage was being repaired from the Separatist invasion, and he looked to Padme's apartment in the distance, and something clicked within Anakin. Padme would want him to do this, and Anakin felt his own confidence begin to be restored. It was shaken after the nightmares, but as Grandmaster, he could save the Jedi, save the Republic, save his wife. And Anakin nodded to Obi-Wan, so the two of them walked back to the Council, where Anakin Skywalker was officially named Grandmaster of the Jedi Order. When the council session concluded, Anakin walked through the temple, this time with Mace Windu. They were walking to the temple hangar, as Anakin and Mace were going to visit Palpatine and inform him of this news. Anakin and Mace talked, and Mace admitted it was tough for him to go along with this at first, but he said he does trust Anakin to help the Jedi Order end this war for good. The two of them flew to Palpatine's office, and he greeted Anakin warmly, while being noticeably less enthusiastic to see Windu. Before the two of them could tell Palpatine about Anakin being made Grandmaster, Palpatine began talking, and said that he would like to make Anakin his official representative of the Jedi Council. But Anakin and Mace came to a halt, saying there would be no need for this. Anakin smiled warmly at the man that had mentored him for so long. Then he told Palpatine the great news. He would be replacing Yoda as Grandmaster of the Jedi Order. Palpatine heard this and almost let his dark side show. He had Yoda killed so that Windu could become Grandmaster, push Anakin further away from the Jedi, not closer. Instead, somehow everything had been turned around on him. For the first time, the Jedi had the upper hand. Anakin was the Grandmaster? Palpatine knew all of his plans would have to be changed. Anakin not only trusted the Jedi now, but he led the Jedi. But for now, he congratulated Anakin, as Anakin said he would like to announce this to the Republic. Again, Palpatine hated this, but he had no leverage, so he granted Anakin access to the HoloNet broadcast. Anakin flipped on the switch, and all across the galaxy, his face was shown to anyone near a screen. On the streets of Coruscant, Padme Amidala was walking with Bail Organa and Mon Mothma as they looked up to the emergency broadcast. Padme could not believe her eyes. What was Anakin doing on the HoloNet? And she watched as her husband began speaking to the Republic, saying that the Separatists killed Grandmaster Yoda during the Coruscant invasion. Many knew this by now, but it was still shocking to hear. Anakin continued on, saying that in his final moments, Yoda asked that he, Anakin Skywalker, take over as Grandmaster of the Jedi Order. And now Padme felt every single emotion swirling inside of her, and she even got lightheaded. She couldn't believe it. But she was so proud, but also fearful of how Anakin would handle this. But her fears were erased as Anakin stood tall, telling the people of the Republic that the Order would do whatever they could to gain the trust back from the people of the Republic. Anakin admitted the Jedi were in disarray. They were meant to be peacekeepers, but they were thrown into this war as leaders, and they've tried to lead this war effort as the Republic as best they could, as generals, leading everyone through it. But Anakin announced that once General Grievous is either captured or destroyed, the Jedi will call for peace talks and pull themselves out of this war. Peace will be returned to the galaxy. Anakin smiled, and the broadcast was ended. Anakin was on the side of peace, and Padme could not be happier. Palpatine, on the other hand, congratulated Anakin one final time and watched him leave with Windu. Palpatine was furious. Anakin may not be coming to his side. So be it. He would offer Anakin one more time later on to join him, and then the rest of the Jedi would fall to Order 66. And so for the next couple of days, Anakin spent almost the entire time in the Jedi Temple, researching two things: how to save his wife from dying, and also the history of Grandmasters in the Jedi Order, who they were, what they did, what he could do to improve the Order. And after a while, he was confident that he could do this, be the Grandmaster. But upon further research into his nightmares, he learned of something else. Deep in the restricted section of the archives, Anakin learned that it was possible for Sith to influence dreams through the dark side of the Force. Anakin wondered why the Sith would want anything to do with him, to influence his dreams, But then it hit him. The Sith must have somehow known before anyone that he was going to be made Grandmaster, and so the Sith were trying to draw Anakin away from the Jedi. A surge of joy ran through Anakin as he realized these dreams may not even be real. And in this moment, his comlink beeped. Again, Palpatine. The Chancellor told Anakin that he had great news regarding General Grievous, and so Anakin made his way to Palpatine's office. Once inside, Palpatine could feel a new aura surrounding Anakin. The boy carried a great confidence, and Palpatine decided that right here, right now, he would give Anakin the choice to join him, or Anakin would die and Order 66 would commence. Palpatine could not let Anakin and the Jedi gain back the trust of the Republic. It would ruin everything. And so Palpatine began pacing the room, talking to Anakin, telling him everything. Inside of the Jedi Temple, Mace Windu was meditating. He was worried about the Order, though Anakin had proven to be capable and confident in his new role. Something just seemed off. And as he meditated here today, Windu felt a familiar presence. He opened his eyes to see a blue outline of Yoda. He was here, somehow. But Yoda smiled and told Windu that he did well in trusting Anakin. And Yoda said that Skywalker is in great danger. Even after death, the dark side clouds the Force, but Yoda now had more access to the Force, and he could feel something coming. Something with Anakin. Windu couldn't believe that Yoda was actually here, but after a bit, the Grandmaster, former Grandmaster, disappeared, and Windu began to try and find Anakin. And back inside of the Chancellor's office, Anakin heard everything from Palpatine, and he ignited his lightsaber. Anakin told Palpatine that he was the one putting the galaxy in chaos, killing billions for a meaningless war, and Anakin said that he would pay for it all, here and now. And Palpatine sensed no conflict in Anakin. So be it. He would die, and the Jedi Order would follow. So Sidious pulled a lightsaber from his sleeve, and in one quick second he ignited it and swung at Anakin. The strike was blocked, and Anakin flipped backwards, getting into a battle stance. Sidious paced around the room, telling Anakin he was meant for so much more, but Yoda ruined everything. Sidious was yelling now, saying Anakin was meant to be a Sith, but instead would die. Sidious sprinted at Anakin, swinging with ferocity, continuing to taunt him, saying that there is a darkness lying deep within him. Sidious told Anakin to let it out, embrace the dark side, or he will lose and lose everything. Now Anakin was parrying the strikes perfectly, and he took his own turn on offense. He was yelling at Sidious now, saying that he was a traitor to the Republic, a traitor to him. Anakin kicked Sidious in the face, saying he knew that he put the dreams in his head. Palpatine spit out blood from the kick and laughed, saying Anakin could never be a true Jedi, so long as he kept his secret wife. And Sidious continued on, saying that the Senate would never believe him about this. The Jedi will be executed if Palpatine is killed without trial. And deep down, Anakin knew he was right. He had to prove to everyone that Palpatine was evil, but he also knew that Palpatine is the Senate. So Anakin took a risk. He let himself be disarmed, and he was blasted with lightning, slamming into the wall, being engulfed with lightning now. As the Grand Master of the Order, this was a sacrifice Anakin had to make. Sidious was now distracted, blasting Anakin with lightning, laughing with malice, as Anakin secretly reached out with the Force, flipping on the emergency HoloNet broadcast from earlier. Suddenly, Palpatine was being broadcasted to the entire Republic, as he electrocuted Anakin with a red lightsaber in his hand, and he had no idea everyone was watching. Anakin kept Palpatine distracted, as the entire Republic on the HoloNet saw what Palpatine truly was. And finally, he stopped blasting Anakin, yelling at him that the Jedi are defeated, and he alone will rule this galaxy. Anakin sat up, burns from the lightning causing him great pain, as he asked Palpatine if he thinks the Republic will stand for this. Quickly, the Sith Lord turned around and saw that he was being broadcasted. With an angry scream, he blasted Anakin once more and moved for his communication device. He would execute Order 66, take the galaxy for himself by force. But as he switched it on to contact the clones, a purple lightsaber swung through the rebuilt window, and the last thing Palpatine saw was Mace Windu sprint into the room as the Sith Lord's head fell to the ground. Mace helped Anakin up, and they walked to the live broadcast. Anakin told the Republic that Palpatine was the secret leader of the Separatists, and with him gone, the war could come to an end. Over the next few days, peace talks between the Republic and what remained of the Separatists would commence. Battle droids were shut down, and the war would come to an end. Anakin Skywalker was hailed as a hero of the Jedi and the Republic, but after talking with Padme, they decided that she and Anakin could not continue to live like this if Anakin was going to be the Grandmaster. And so once the war was over, Anakin traveled to the Jedi Council, taking his seat next to Windu, and said that he had an announcement to make. Anakin detailed his relationship with Padme, how she was pregnant with his child. He said he could not continue to be the Grandmaster of the Order in good faith, while living this lie. And Anakin stepped out of the council, while the rest of the members discussed what Anakin just told them. Eventually, Anakin re-entered to find the council had come to a solution that worked for everybody. Windu said that they held a vote, and the council has decided to adapt an older practice. There will be 3 Grandmasters of the Jedi Order, and the council voted Windu and Kenobi as Grandmasters next to Anakin. Anakin was surprised the council was allowing him to remain in this position, but he was grateful, as Windu said that Anakin has shown excellent promise, and members of the Order and the Republic look up to Anakin. And so eventually, with this news spreading around the Republic, Padme Amidala, wife of Grandmaster Skywalker, was elected as the new Chancellor of the Republic. Padme and Anakin would lead the Republic into an era of peace, while the children grew up training in the temple. And folks, that's our story for today. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you thought in the comments. Please leave a like. And once again, pinned comment to join the lightsaber giveaway. Winners announced in 1 week. Super excited about it. But yeah, thanks a ton. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video.